say we, I'm talking about humankind. Behind. Let's close the gender gap, so let's go Kanye. Safeguard young people on the MIC. Inequality is the driver of the HIV. So let's tip the scale and leave the world shook. Watch the Richter scale, Momoya Wegutula, that will push the sail of our relationship. So all aboard. Masculinity is supposed to protect the vulnerability of our community. Yeah.
Give me a chance to grow, to walk, to run, to fly. Give me a chance to live a better life. Give me a chance to grow, to walk, to run, to fly. Give me a chance to live a better life. Give me a chance to grow, to walk, to run, to fly. Give me a chance to live a better life. Give me a chance to grow, to walk, to run, to fly. Give me a chance to live a better life. Negative for HIV. We got the information about double protection to better take care of ourselves and our girlfriends. And we also got the information about the STIs. The STIs. Now this gives we don't have to wear HIV. Now this gives we don't have to wear HIV.
Closer than a cuddle, untouchable. We lived in our own little bubble. Nishola Batala wanted to have a love like ours. Cloud 9, now beyond that, ours was Mars. But in the blink of an eye, I lost sight of my lady. I called another baby. Naitala was shady. Little did I know that pretty little you always knew the silly little things that I do, like sexing without protection. You started texting with the intention of a hookup, cause you were shook up. 7-star hotels, you and him were booked up. Damn, Jack and Jill could have gone up the hill, but thanks to Jane, they're at the bottom still. This Jack and Jill could have gone up the hill, but thanks to John, they're at the bottom still. Me and you, we, us two, got a couple of things we need to resolve. How I wish we didn't get anybody else involved, cause me and you, we, us two, got a couple of things we need to resolve. How I wish we didn't get anybody else. You are the girl who always had my heart. We grew up and then we grew apart. My jokes ain't funny no more. Whatever you wanted I would give, but I guess you wanted more. What used to be gratitude is now attitude. I got something biggie, mommy picked up on altitude. Out of my range, so she jumped in his. I'm just a schoolboy, he run his own business. Switched up on the shoe game, then hair Brazilian. Ushinchangeti more to the boy, still pedestrian. Something ain't right, Sims rather risky. We don't even kick it no more. Risky. It's time for me to catch a wake up. I'm off to the doctor for a checkup. He said, you look a little restless, son, how come? I said, I've been a little reckless. What's the outcome? Me and you, we, us two, got a couple of things we need to resolve. How I wish we didn't get anybody else involved, cause me and you, we, us two, got a couple of things we need to resolve. How I wish we didn't get anybody else. We had a good thing. Our little hood thing, should've known better than to make it into a group thing. Cause now I caught the virus and I pass it to you. And you got a sugar daddy, so you pass it to him. He probably got a couple others, so he pass it to them. He a married man, my God, he got a fam. If I could turn back the hands of time, I would talk to myself in a nursery rhyme. This Jack and Jill could have gone up the hill, but thanks to Jane, they're at the bottom still. This Jack and Jill could have gone up the hill, but thanks to John, they're at the bottom still. So instead of finding a way to love a million girls, I'd rather find a girl to love a million ways. So instead of finding a way to love a million girls, I'd rather find a girl to love a million ways. Yeah, if you can relate with this story of Jack and Jill, it's not the end of the world. Get tested, get the proper treatment, and shut down the spread of the virus. Never again seek to love a million others. Rather, love the one you with a million ways.
Selo lorato tshegofatso di makatso se motshamekwane a re bue ka bobedi ke go tlhaloganya mebele ema pele melomo e lomaganya ke sa go fore ka lelome ke go fadisa lebana dingwaga ga di le to go ratana re baithuti ba sekolo re ditsalanyana re bereke rotlhe re kgone ka moso ba lekana go sena yone ke boso re bone madiko re federalo bokamoso ke jwa rona fela fa re tsoga ala alolola go bogadisi le rona tla di bona re kemisitse gore pele re ratana re tlhatlhobile tswala ditšholo fa kgotlhopo e sa pakiwe ke lorato ke tlhokomelo morati je izintwana blomaga se go sagiwe see before the time's right gotta get our minds right gotta do this thing right one chance one life one chance one life I will love and protect from your heart to the sex. I ain't on to the next, I'm just out for the best. Best me, best you, best us, just us. I love and protect from your heart to the sex. I ain't on to the next, I'm just out for the best. Best me, the best you, the best us. Serasa tsepisana na le wena bobedi botshedisana a se bokauso ke latlhile sedidinyana ga ke selaka sa go tshameka basetsanyana ga re ipua ka bobedi re ka tlhaloganya wena wa re ke reditse bua tlhaloganya lora ditoro re ipakanyetse ka mogana ya ditlhaloganya fa go pala re tlhalose re ranole pharologanyo re bitse ngwana boikanyo boitumelo fam career lifestyle we can have it all sekausu ga se gore ga ke go tshepe ke kelo tlhoko fela ka re tshaba mareledi botshelo jona tsela mo diphatseng a re ikagele re tswe mo lefatsheng re babedi fela ga re utlwe gore ba reng ga ke se le dibareng ke setse yo mogareng I will love and protect from your heart to the sex I ain't on to the next I'm just out for the best best me best you best us just us. I love and protect from your heart to the sex. I ain't on to the next, I'm just out for the best. Best me, the best you, the best us. Just selo lorato tshegofatso di makatswa se matshamekwane a re bue baby ke tle ke go tlhaloganya ga re re tshameke sentle go diphatsanyana selo botshelo felo molelo go tlatswanyana tshegofatso di makatswa a se matshamekwane a re bue baby ke tle ke go tlhaloganya ga re re tshameke sentle go diphatsanyana selo botshelo felo molelo go tlatswanyana re bua ke go tlotla ke sa go kgwele lenyatso go omana go lapisa re se utlwane re tswa fo utlwa le le Setswana ga re utlwa ke dikgang tsa lorato matlo a putla rona ga re bao go ga se molao mafoko a motlhofo lorato ba re sekao ga ke batle go tshela ke iphitlha sharp ka small house just love my woman deep but we build ma re aga matlo le malapa re mo tlhogo le molala mama papa ditori ke di bone ka boka diragatsa tsotlhe di a kgonega ga re se go fatsa I will love and protect from your heart to the sex. I ain't on to the next, I'm just out for the best. Best me, best you, best us, just us. I love and protect from your heart to the sex. I ain't on to the next, I'm just out for the best. Best me, the best you, the best us, just. One chance, one life.
here we are. Our hearts beat as one as we march into the great unknown. Steady building the future we want as steel replaces brick and stone. For sustainable development, we need everybody to raise a hand and say, here's my dollar, here's my pound, here's my rand. We need integration. Leave no one behind. A promise was made, so we will always remind. Universal access to sexual and reproductive health. Girls and women's empowerment plus gender equality. Youth to be the agents of positive change and the leaders of a generation that will carry us forward. Leave no one behind. A promise was made, so we will always remind. We are moving, but we need to accelerate progress. We must take urgent action to end gender-based violence. You see, a crisis like no other calls for recovery like no other. We must continue with essential measures to protect lives and livelihoods. We must build a more resilient and inclusive economy with a sense of urgency and priority, particularly for women and young people who have been disproportionately affected by the crisis. Holding back women is holding back more than half of the world's potential for well-rounded elevation and innovation. This world is due for a shaking. This world is hers for the taking. How do we fashion the future? By speaking the words in the minds of those who will call it now. I know there's something better down the road. We need to find a place where we are safe. We must walk into that which we cannot yet see, defined by you and me, all of us together. Heads of state, ministers, parliamentarians, thought leaders, technical experts, civil society, grassroots organization, young people, business and community leaders, faith-based organization, indigenous people, international financial institutions, people with disabilities, academics, and any other person interested in the pursuit of sexual and reproductive health rights. If there's one thing I believe in more than I believe in anything else, it is that there is no power for change greater than a community that has discovered what it cares about. A small group of thoughtful and committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. This world is due for a shaking. This world is hers for the taking.
This world is due for a shaking. This world is hers for the taking. Such powerful words by the courtesy of hip-hop, SYP artist from the Kingdom of Eswatini. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the regional launch of the Unfpa East and Southern Africa Safeguard Young People's Program expansion to Angola, Mozambique, Rwanda, and Tanzania. My name is Levi Singh. This afternoon, we will have simultaneous interpretation in Portuguese for our audience who are joining us on the closed channel from Angola and Mozambique. Please make sure you choose the language globe icon Portuguese on the bar below. Today, young people aged 10 to 24 years old in East and Southern Africa account for almost 33% of the total population. Our region is youthful, dynamic, and vibrant. They want to thrive, build their communities, and change their world. We owe it to every young person to see their potential fulfilled by upholding their sexual reproductive health and rights. This is why we're here today, to launch the Unfpa East and Southern Africa Flagship Youth Program, SYP, to 4 countries in the region. By expanding the program into Angola, Mozambique, Rwanda, and Tanzania, we have the opportunity to scale up existing interventions for adolescents and young people using a human rights and gender equality approach across multiple sectors. Over the next 90 minutes, we'll hear from young leaders, government partners, development partners, and creative artists. We'll be reflecting on the success stories, and through a futures lens, we will map a way forward for youth development in this region, a region that cares and stands ready to realize the sexual and reproductive health and rights of all adolescents and young people. Please follow the conversation in the chat box and tell us who you are, where you're from, and your hopes for the celebration. Also tag us on Facebook and Twitter on UNFPA_SYP and UNFPA_Izaro. Before we proceed, let us agree on some house rules. When you enter the meeting, please rename yourself with your first name, surname, and country, just so that we know it's you. When you enter, you will be muted and you will not be able to unmute yourself during the proceedings. This is to ensure that we all have a smooth and focused plenary. You will, however, be able to turn on your camera and turn it off at any time. You will not be able to share your screen or make any annotations on the screen without prior permission. Let us also look at how we will deal with questions and comments. Please use the chat function to say hi and make comments or ask questions. During the Q&A session, if you'd like to ask a question, please post it in the chat box below and clearly identify who you are with your name, your country, and your gender. The moderator will select a few questions to be answered live during the course of this event, and the remainder of the questions will be responded to post-event. For our speakers and moderators and other guests, you will automatically be made co-hosts upon entering the meeting. Co-hosts will have the ability to unmute their mics, share their screens, and so on. Please relax, engage, and enjoy this event. Just follow these simple steps and have a fantastic UNFPA Zoom experience. We kick off the event with a video from the current SYP program that outlines our journey since 2013 and showcases the amazing milestones thus far. Let's get the show on the road.
Young people all around the East and Southern Africa region are asking for a chance to crawl, to walk, to run, and to fly. And the UNFPA is on a mission to create a world where every pregnancy is wanted, every childbirth is safe, and every young person's potential is fulfilled.
I have been grown up in a society whereby I had people living with HIV and AIDS, young people being affected with different challenges that they face, and that gave me a strong thinking of saying, whom do I want to be as a young person?
Nalolela banja lija nyamana jana ndizaka 26 nena ndizaka 14 pomwe nalolela kupita nyumba kogona kugona kuja amandika kamiza kuti ndizigona naye pakana ka 7 pasiku kala ine kaja pamwezi amata support group anabwera sokutani pakambira ndi makolo aja abunga ine kwaja nda aujenera amata support group amaenderabe kunyumba kuja makambira nawo makolo aja amakambirana ndeke na kumakolo aja na vesesa anauza kuti uyu mumulele.
Encourage women and girls at risk to prepare a safety plan. Safety plans can be used when the violence escalates and the risk to their lives is greater. Safety plans can include information of who to call, how to leave the house, and what to take with you, and an alarm code where they can get support.
I'm leading by example as a peer educator. We're trained how to counsel youth, how to manage this community, the pressure, everything.
You would find that the young people would get information from their peers, and that information was not good enough, so we would see them getting pregnant, not achieving their professional goal, not employed. So I'm seeing a brighter future for our young girls.
talking about sex and sexuality is going to encourage young people to go out and have sex.
And it is false. When young people get information, it influences their decision making and they can plan. And so we need to come in with balanced information that enables young people to make good decisions for themselves.
It's really interesting. You get to know what other youth are facing, their problems, and you can get to know how you can solve such problems.
It's culturally sensitive and age appropriate, so it's so welcomed. And in the communities where it is not running, they're saying, when are you going to come and implement this program?
I believe when having sex, you just enjoying, nothing can happen. I didn't know about pregnancy and HIV, STIs and all the like.
I'm committing to sharing information with my fellow young people and also ensuring that as young people we stop working apart but working together towards the betterment of our future.
There's much that has been achieved over the last 25 years in relation to maternal mortality, access to reproductive health rights and services, but there's much more that needs to be done for us to close that gap and make sure that we leave no one behind.
Believing that everything will be alright. Everything will be alright. Everything will be alright.
What a great program, really centered around young people and their sexual and reproductive health, rights and needs. This is a clear example of how a youth-centered design program can really make the difference in the lives of young people. And now we are honored to hear statements of support from the main development partners who have joined efforts in making the expansion of SYP possible. The Swiss Development Agency for Cooperation and Development and the Embassy of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. To represent the Swiss Agency for Development and Cooperation is Ambassador Thomas Grass. Ambassador Thomas Grass was appointed in 2018 as Vice Director and Head of the South Cooperation Department of the Swiss Agency for Development and Cooperation, SDC. He brings with him a wide-ranging experience in bilateral and multilateral development cooperation, as well as in natural sciences applied to development. From 2013 to 2017, he served as Assistant Secretary General at the Department for Economic and Social Affairs of the United Nations Secretariat in New York. He served from 2009 to 2013 as head of the mission of Switzerland to Nepal. From 2004 to 2009, Mr. Grass was also head of the Economic and Development section at the Permanent Mission of Switzerland to the UN in New York, where he represented Switzerland's interests in the Economic and Social Council, the General Assembly, and the executive boards of the major funds and programs. During this time, Mr. Grass was also the chair of the donor group of the UN Global Compact. Mr. Grass has also served as Deputy Resident Representative of the United Nations Development Programme in Guyana, as Policy Advisor and Policy Officer for the Swiss Agency for Development and Cooperation, and as European Regional Director with the International Plant Genetic Resources Institute in Rome.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as the youth population is growing in many countries of the region, it is more crucial than ever that we increase our efforts to support young people to realize their full potential. For the last 8 years, the Safeguard Young People program has been a pioneering force in this area, thanks to the ongoing engagement of Unfpa, the commitment of our partner countries, and the leadership of the Southern Africa Development Community. It is a collective effort that Switzerland is proud to be part of. We are very pleased that the benefits of this collaboration are now being expanded to Angola, Mozambique, Rwanda, and United Republic of Tanzania. Each individual should be aware of and claim his or her sexual and reproductive health and rights. The international community recognized this as a human right in 1994 and reaffirmed it as a part of the Sustainable Development Goals in 2015. Although it is not yet a reality, all efforts to reach this objective contribute greatly to improving gender equality, harnessing the demographic dividend, and accelerating continental and global development. As a long-standing partner of SYP, Switzerland has been able to witness firsthand the impact that the program has on the lives of adolescents and young people in Southern Africa. The program has been instrumental in working with countries to improve their policy and legal environment, whilst strengthening the capacity of health service providers and championing youth participation in activities that empower them. In the process, over 21 million adolescents and young people have been reached with programs in comprehensive sexuality education in and out of school, as well as social and behavioral change communication. More than 8 million adolescents and young people have benefited from integrated HIV and sexual and reproductive health services. And over 2.3 million young people have adopted protective sexual behaviors thanks to increased knowledge and skills. In addition, the SYP has contributed significantly not only to major policy breakthroughs and consensus building at the regional level, but also to the meaningful domestication of regional initiatives at national level, such as the SADC Model Law on Child Marriage, which has now been translated into domestic law in 6 countries, just one example among many. All the while, the stakeholders of the SYP program have risen to the challenge of pushing the program to address cutting-edge issues in sexual and reproductive health and rights, such as the role of toxic masculinity and the impact of climate change on sexual and reproductive health. Given the tangible results the program has achieved in the first 8 participating countries, Switzerland is convinced that the SYP's innovative approach is a sound starting point to tackle similar challenges in other countries of the Eastern and Southern Africa region. Countries entering the program will now benefit from the lessons learned over the past 8 years, but more importantly, they will be able to share their own experiences as part of the peer exchange and South-South cooperation that is at the heart of the SYP model and ensures its continued improvement. Our teams in Rwanda, Tanzania, Mozambique, and Bern are excited and ready to contribute to make the expansion of SYP a success in responding to the needs of adolescents and young people in these countries. Thank you.
To represent the Embassy of the Kingdom of the Netherlands is Ambassador Henny de Vries. Ambassador de Vries started her career in the UN with postings in Egypt, Costa Rica, and Honduras. From 1996 to 2002, she worked in the Netherlands at the Ministry of Social Affairs and Employment. In 2002, she joined the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs with postings in Tanzania, Bangladesh, and the occupied Palestinian territories. In addition, she has served at the Department for Sustainable Economic Development in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in The Hague. Since 2018, she is the Ambassador of the Kingdom of the Netherlands to the Republic of Mozambique.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor for me to share with you a few messages at this launch of the expansion of the Safeguard Young People program to Mozambique, Rwanda, Angola and Tanzania. The Netherlands is a long-standing development partner and has been active in supporting sexual and reproductive health and rights and HIV/AIDS in the Southern African region for over 15 years. We focus on young people in and out of schools. We focus on women, young people living with HIV, migrants, sex workers, young people belonging to the LGBTIQ communities, and people using drugs. Activities take place in Angola, Botswana, Eswatini, Lesotho, Malawi, Mozambique, Namibia, South Africa, Tanzania, Zambia and Zimbabwe. The main objective of our support is to enable young people to make healthy choices, to provide them with information on so-called comprehensive sexuality education, and with services which are tailor-made to young people, to build their self-confidence, negotiation skills, and to enable them to make informed decisions about their body and life. Of course, these services also include the provision of family planning methods, HIV testing, mental and psychosocial support, and referral services to ARV treatment and other specialized support. Through information and enhanced service provision, we do hope that the SRHR indicators in Southern Africa show a more favorable picture, that less young people acquire an STD or become HIV positive, that fewer young girls marry before the age of 18, that the number of unintended pregnancies and unsafe abortions reduces, that less young people are confronted with gender-based violence, and that young people who are HIV positive become more adherent to ARV treatment. And last but not least, we really expect and hope a new generation of informed, committed and capable youth leaders stand up, who advocate for and lead us to a world where the voice of young people is being heard. Our contract and implementing partners are UNA organizations like UNFPA, UNDP, but also international organizations like Frontline AIDS and Pathfinder. But we also work with community-based organizations of religious leaders, sex workers and community activists. It goes without saying that governmental agencies play a crucial role in all our funded programs. These are the ministries of health, education, justice and the interior, and their representatives at provincial and local level. Governmental agencies and policies set the scenes and are extremely important in creating an enabling environment and facilitating the work with young people. We truly believe that by working together, pooling resources with UNFPA, the Swiss Agency for Development Cooperation SDC, we will reach more young people and have a bigger impact on changing the lives of those who are most in need. With this partnership, we aim to leave no one behind in this region. The Netherlands has been working with UNFPA in Mozambique for many years. Over the past years, we supported the My Choice program implemented in the provinces of Tete and Cabo Delgado. We highly appreciate the approach of UNFPA, its activities, the results achieved, and especially the involvement of young people. We're especially impressed by the national, provincial and local implementing agencies, be it governmental or non-governmental. But even more so are we impressed with the young people themselves and the youth leaders involved. The commitment and professionalism shown is very much valued, but also crucial for reaching large groups of young, vulnerable people with information and services. When the Dutch Embassy in Maputo got the opportunity to join forces with the regional program of UNFPA Safeguard Young People, we immediately pleaded to also include Angola. As you know, Mozambique and Angola are both Portuguese-speaking countries, and both countries are confronted with many challenges related to SRHR, sexual and reproductive health and rights, and HIV/AIDS. Materials such as information leaflets and training materials are produced in Portuguese in Mozambique and can also be used with some adaptations in Angola. But another reason is that our embassy in Rwanda, in the area of SRHR and HIV/AIDS, are making a strong plea, and they strongly advocate to make a stronger response to enable young people to make healthy choices about their body and life. Rolling out the Safeguard Young People program in Mozambique and Angola will not be easy. But looking at what the program thus far has achieved, I'm convinced and confident that it will be possible. We want to work together towards a world where young people are heard and enabled to live healthier and happier lives. We wish you a lot of success with the program and thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you to our esteemed partners for their ongoing support to the expansion of the SYP program in the region and for their passion and commitment toward the realization of adolescent sexual and reproductive health and rights in the region. Together with you, under the leadership of the regional economic communities and in partnership with young people, Unfpa has a chance to help Africa's youth to lead and participate in the economic growth and development of the region and make smart SRHR choices for their own well-being and the region as a whole. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be hearing from young leaders from Rwanda and Angola. Their experiences are critical in understanding how to create a balance between providing for the needs today and making them fit for the future, and how SYP can support young people in finding that balance in their respective countries. We'll begin with Avode and then move to Yolanda. Welcome.
Thank you very much. It's already exciting to be speaking on the launch of this SYP program. And I can't express enough the joy that I have to see SYP coming to Rwanda, because I've known SYP program since 3 years ago when I joined AFRIAN. I kept seeing it being implemented in other countries than Rwanda, but then here we are with having such a great program. I take it as a program which will benefit a lot to young people of Rwanda, especially that we experience different sexually related issues. And we need to create an environment where our young people will realize their potentials without facing the issues that they are facing now. There is no other way to do that than empowering young people, improving the service accessibility for them, and having a legal environment which is really enabling them to enjoy their sexual reproductive health. The SYP program will be touching the capacity building of youth-ready networks, including AFRIAN Rwanda, and we'll do that together with the National Youth Council. AFRIAN Rwanda is made up by youth-ready organization, and we'll basically start by the capacity building to AFRIAN Rwanda, the organizational development, and then we'll expand that to the youth-ready organization that makes up the AFRIAN Rwanda. And then the next phase, within this next year, that's when we'll start also to touch the bases, especially the community level, with empowering the community-based organization, especially those representing the marginalized group, because we believe in not leaving anyone behind, as the sexual reproductive issues doesn't select one to go to. So we really need to touch the issues like teenage pregnancy, the inaccessible services, the issue of age of consent, which is really affecting more young people, even those who have benefited from the sexuality education. But again, we want to see how we can engage young people in transforming the education. We have the comprehensive sexuality education, which was already integrated in the curriculum. But again, we still have different issues which are within the implementation of the program. So as part of the SYP, we'll be contributing a lot as AFRIAN and other young people to make it a success, to see how we can advance the education, which is really benefiting and responding to the needs of young people. Responding to the needs of young people doesn't only require people to set programs. It requires young people to be put at the center. And by having AFRIAN and other youth-led organizations, even the community-based organization representing young people and the young people themselves voices will be the foundational of improving every program which is touching on advancing sexual reproductive health for adolescents and young people. I thank a lot the partners, everyone who has contributed a lot to make it a reality to have SYP in Rwanda, the donors, the Netherlands, the Switzerland, the Unfpa from the global level, the regional level, and the Unfpa Rwanda, who are working tirelessly to make it a success, as well as everyone who will be engaged in this program. We want to see it making an impact. We want to see it contributing to empowering young people. We want to see it positioning young people at the center of everything which will be done throughout this program. I thank you a lot, and it was really great to get engaged on this launch.
Olá, bom dia. Eu sou Yolanda Miguel, sou angolana, coordenadora da rede Afrian em Angola. É um grande prazer estar aqui a partilhar as nossas ações e projetos, tendo como base as ações do programa SYP, e desde já gostaríamos de agradecer o convite que nos foi formulado pela coordenação regional. A Afrian é um programa internacional de adolescentes e jovens para o desenvolvimento da população, que tem como objetivo o alcance das soluções eficazes para a saúde sexual e reprodutiva, o planeamento familiar, a gravidez precoce, o HIV-Sida e muitos outros assuntos que encontramos dentro do Objetivo de Desenvolvimento Sustentável. Para nós, é nesse sentido que a Afrian se revê nos programas SYP e vê como uma grande oportunidade para os adolescentes e jovens angolanos, pelo fato de ser um programa regional de reconhecimento e aumento da capacitação dos trabalhos que as organizações da sociedade civil têm desenvolvido. Olhando para as metas do SYP no âmbito da saúde, a rede Afrian tem trabalhado no empoderamento de adolescentes e jovens através da formação de ativistas e educação de pares, com campanhas de sensibilização nacional nas áreas de saúde sexual e reprodutiva, planeamento familiar, educação menstrual, HIV-Sida, DTS, o combate à fome e à má nutrição. Há 2 anos temos trabalhado em questões humanitárias e emergenciais, contribuindo para o alcance de respostas rápidas para a Covid-19, com apoio do Ministério da Ação Social, Família e Promoção da Mulher, Ministério da Juventude e Desportos, Unfpa Angola e da empresa Suave, que é uma empresa de fabrico de pensos higiênicos. A Afrian desenvolveu o projeto 1 em 2, que baseia-se na sensibilização e educação menstrual. Com este projeto nós conseguimos alcançar 5.000 meninas em 3 províncias do nosso país, falando sobre a educação menstrual e como cuidar do corpo da mulher, como utilizar os pensos reutilizáveis e não reutilizáveis. E desta feita, pelo sucesso desta campanha, a rede Afrian criou, com apoio técnico e financeiro do Unfpa Angola, a cooperativa Nayuca, que tem como objetivo o fabrico de pensos reutilizáveis. Com este financiamento, nós conseguimos empoderar 5 mulheres que foram empregadas por nós. Essas mulheres serão formadoras e serão as fabricadoras dos pensos reutilizáveis. Com esse projeto, gostaríamos de alcançar as comunidades mais recônditas do nosso país, que têm dificuldade em adquirir os objetos menstruais. Este projeto formou esse projeto formou ativistas que vão de tempo em tempo às comunidades para continuar na sensibilização sobre a educação menstrual. Ainda com o apoio do Unfpa, por ser a coordenadora do FP 2030 em Angola, estamos a desenvolver a plataforma FP 2030 em Angola no âmbito da sensibilização sobre o planeamento familiar, de modo a contribuir na redução do número elevado de gravidezes precoces e abortos indesejados. Gostaria desde já agradecer mais uma vez o empenho do Unfpa em Angola em apoiar as iniciativas promovidas pela rede Afrian em prol dos adolescentes e jovens de Angola, que percebemos com a satisfação que se alinham com os resultados esperados deste programa. Estamos, por isso, prontos para continuar a trabalhar em conjunto, de modo a assegurar que estas propostas pelo SYP sejam alcançadas para benefício dos adolescentes jovens angolanos. Nada para os jovens sem os jovens. Muito obrigada e abraço.
Thank you to Evode and Yolanda. I am happy to introduce the next item on our program. As a young person who has had the opportunity to work with Unfpa, it is encouraging to see how the organization has been working to serve the next generation for nearly a decade. The photographs which we are about to see depict SYP's work in Botswana, Eswatini, Lesotho, Malawi, Namibia, South Africa, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. And the many young people who have had the chance to participate in the program, even during the COVID-19 pandemic. Let's have a look.
Closer than a cuddle, untouchable. We lived in our own little bubble. Nishola Batala wanted to have a love like ours. Cloud 9, now beyond that, ours was Mars. But in the blink of an eye, I lost sight of my lady. I called another baby, like Talago shady. Little did I know that pretty little you always knew the silly little things that I do, like sexing without protection. You started texting with the intention of a hookup, cause you were shook up. 7-star hotels, you and him were booked up. Damn, Jack and Jill could have gone up the hill, but thanks to Jane, they're at the bottom still. This Jack and Jill could have gone up the hill, but thanks to John, they're at the bottom still.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce our next speaker, Ms. Duduzile Simelane. Ms. Simelane is the Director of Social and Human Development at the SADC Secretariat. Previous to that, Dudu was the Head of Strategy and Organizational Development at the IPPF Africa Regional Office in Nairobi, Kenya. She is an exceptional leader and an ally to all young people across the region. Welcome to Ms. Simelane.
Thank you, and thank you for that, and good afternoon to everybody. I'd like to acknowledge the Regional Director for Unfpa, Dr. Barnett Ndianamangi, Excellency, Honorable Ambassadors and High Commissioners, representatives of development partners, representatives of UN agencies, representatives of civil society organizations, representatives of the media, and most importantly, the young people who are on this platform and those that are not on this platform. So I'd like to acknowledge the young people in a special way. Allow me to also recognize the organizers of this forum, which is a very beautiful forum indeed. The Southern Africa region faces serious deficits in youth development and empowerment, most notably on account of poor sexual and reproductive health of young people, limited access to secondary education and beyond, high rates of unemployment and underemployment, as well as the predominance of low productivity entrepreneurship in the informal economy. On youth health and well-being, there remains a need to address low access to contraceptive services, to deal with issues of contraceptive prevalence, and to prevent HIV, teenage pregnancies, and child marriages, which account for high adolescent birth rates and high rates of maternal mortality. Many factors, such as the low status of women and girls, socio-cultural factors, continue to promote and give rise to intergenerational sex, unintended and early pregnancies, child marriages, poverty, sexual abuse and violence, excuse me. HIV and AIDS continues to be a significant challenge across most member states, with youth aged between 15 and 24 years consistently demonstrating high vulnerability to HIV and AIDS and accounting for 35% of new HIV infections in the SADC region, with an average of 600 youth being newly infected with HIV every day. The 2020 UNAIDS report reveals that females accounted for nearly 4 out of every 5 new infections for youth aged 15 to 19 years. Lastly, the problem of illicit drugs and substance use among youth is reportedly rising, with newer forms of drugs and substances increasingly entering the market. In the category of youth participation, youth in the SADC region face constraints with respect to effective representation in governance and other policy processes. They remain particularly underrepresented in political processes. And also, the 2018 African Union report on the status of youth showed that the proportion of youth members at national parliaments was just over 1%. This low participation of youth in key governance processes means that the contribution to policy management, including processes of nation building, remains peripheral. While we as SADC have a structure known as the SADC Youth Forum, a lot remains to be done to ensure that the forum and other platforms are delivering on the call for full representation in governance and policy processes. Given this background, as SADC Secretariat, we would like to join all the partners present today in celebrating the expansion to the other countries, of which 3 are the SADC member states. These are Angola, Mozambique, and the United Republic of Tanzania. But we also do acknowledge that the expansion is also going to be reaching Rwanda. The SADC Secretariat has been working with the SYP program on a number of strategic interventions, including the following. 1, the development of the SADC Youth Empowerment Policy Framework and its accountability framework, which is in the process of being developed. Number 2 is the SADC Youth Protocol, which is being developed and from which we will anchor all youth programs and interventions. Number 3, the SADC CSW 60/2 program of action in support of girls and women under the gender portfolio in the SADC Secretariat. Finally, the ESA commitment on health and education for the well-being of adolescents and young people. That is the process being extended to 2030 to align to the SDGs. While I'm on this point on the ESA commitment, I'm pleased to inform you that at the SADC level, this renewed commitment has received endorsement from our Ministers of Education in June 2021 and Ministers of Health 2 weeks ago in their meeting in Malawi. Indeed, we have heard from previous speakers on the progress that the SYP has made, including the images, the videos, and the testimonials from the young people. And we are very pleased that the 8 initial member states that participated from 2013 are still on course and are very excited about the expansion to the other countries, as already been mentioned. We look forward to support the program and its expansion to the new implementing countries and guide its implementation in order to leverage on the SADC platform and support member states in their efforts to realize the sexual and reproductive health and rights of adolescents and young people, as they have already committed to through the endorsement of the SADC strategy and the SRH scorecard. I also want to add to the fact that the scorecard was launched in Malawi 2 weeks ago in the Ministers of Health meeting. So I just want to underscore the importance of these tools that are helping us guide the interventions that we are implementing as a region. With these few words, I'd like to thank you for your attention, and I'd like to hand this back to the program director. Thank you.
Thank you, Dudu, for your ever-inspiring words. Esteemed guests, let's take some time to hear from our youth partners. I'm excited to call this next speaker a powerful and outstanding youth leader and a personal friend of mine. Ms. Laurence Kabasele is the president of AFRIAN, Eastern Southern Africa. AFRIAN, as you may know, is the African Youth and Adolescent Network on Population and Development. Laurence has been nominated as Assistant in Charge of Young People in the presidential panel that is accompanying the DRC president in his mandate as African Union chairperson until 2022. Laurence also serves as a commissioner at the High-Level Commission on the Nairobi Summit on ICPD 25 follow-up, which has been set up by the Unfpa Executive Director. Welcome, my sister Laurence.
Thanks, Levi, for these great introductions, and thank UNFPA for always bringing young people on board, bringing AFRIAN on board on every meetings and programs that concerning young people. The Safeguard Young People has been instrumental in supporting youth programming, participation and access to decision-making processes. And this is why at AFRIAN, SYP is not only a flagship program for young people, but it's a part of us, and we cannot imagine our work without it. I know people will ask themselves a question why we cannot imagine our work without it. It's just because we have and continue influencing and adding youth voices to policies and engage youth in high-level processes for their voices to be heard due to this program. And therefore, we are grateful for the support throughout the last years since this program started. And its expansion is just a sign that there is a very good work regarding young people's SRHR has been done in the starting countries. And it's also at the same time an opportunity for growth and continuing of a safeguarding the rights, the health and well-being of young people in East and Southern Africa. As AFRIAN, we are committed to work with UNFPA in the implementation of this program in these additional 4 countries, as we had already started in the past years. Our country chapters are ready and already excited to continue working with UNFPA in different programs, and especially in this program that has been expanded in 4 more countries. So this program, I know it will make again sure that young people are not left behind and their potential is fulfilled. And every young person can have access and information to their SRHR. Thank you very much, and keep in touch.
Thank you, my sister Laurence, for that outstanding call to action. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to watch a music video from the SYP artist entitled We Will. Following the music video, I would like to invite Mr. Sydney Hashi, Innovation and Knowledge Management Specialist from UNFPA Zaro, who will be moderating a dialogue between our new SYP partners in Angola, Mozambique, Rwanda, and Tanzania. Enjoy the video.
Jene kuli yapuzile musamukakamiza jene kuti yabatile kompakisa jene zomutsa kufuna akazafuna kukwatila asasuka mamuna inosimufuna zamuona jene yali bwana amasa kulichenda koma ayi apangazoyipa apanga ndalama azafa ni matenda inosimufuna zamuona jene yali bwana amasa kulichenda koma ayi apangazoyipa apanga ndalama azafa ni matenda. Can this girl sponsor grand? Killing your rubber, do my thing. Only problem, too many girls. One of them will be the end of his world. Gave it up in exchange for the pearls. Strapped up, could've crashed on the curb.
You're the king of the castle, but it's a bit of a struggle, especially if the castle's in the form of a bottle. Broken bottles, cuts are deep. Eskele kumnyama ngathi skip. Umithi sombana wathi skip. Phume ejwaleni, you losing your grip.
It's sweet, but it could turn bitter. Moment of passion, just think, consider. And while you're at it, your dreams are bigger. A moment of passion to a lifetime of pain. In that moment, what do you gain? Mamuna magazi ni musha kuvala. Wajavola utwala mumala. Tawi zafika kufuna kubala.
Turusa, and Maria, Turus, and Monica, to Bruce, and Jessica, the rich and the poor. Yagitami Patanawa, Tam Kachamento Roma. So let's teach our kids about the body's rights. Nam Tala the queen, Kasahuma got twice. Forget about the past life, cause the future is bright. Forget about the past life, cause the future is bright. Bright, bright, cause the future is bright.
I'm gonna do what's right. I'm gonna change my life. Ndikachinja upenyo wangu. Ndinofika kudzera yangu. Ndikaita zakanaka. Ndikachinja upenyo wangu. Nokuti ndilo zvakanaka.
We believe that everything will be all right. Now, that's how excited we are about today's talk show. And thanks a lot, Levi, for starting us out this afternoon. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next segment of this launch program. And I'm happy to be moderating the next segment of the show. So we find ourselves at an inflection point in history where young people are beginning to speak up and speak out about the kinds of future they want. This future involves making their own choices about their bodies, their lives, and the world for a lifetime of returns. So today, we're here to have a discussion, a beautiful discussion, I must add, about what this future could be like for young people. Young people across our region, from the Republic of Angola, the Republic of Mozambique, the United Republic of Tanzania, and Rwanda, and through the expansion of the SYP program. And so I am very, very excited about this. We're going to be hearing stories and inspirations from colleagues and representatives from Angola, from Rwanda, Mozambique, and Zanzibar. So if you are happy as I am and excited as I am, you should be waving right now because I'm introducing my first respondent. And the first respondent is Dr. Kikas Manuel Mercado. He is the National Director for Youth Policies for the Ministry of Youth and Sports for Angola, a position he has held for 8 years before being invited to the position of the National Director, which he currently holds. Dr. Mercado was the first Vice President of the National Youth Council. So welcome, Dr. Mercado, to the talk show, and I'm happy to have you here. So if you indulge me, I'll pose my first question, and it goes like this. The SYP program aims to empower adolescents and young people between the ages of 10 and 24 with specific focus on adolescent girls. Now, to protect themselves from STIs, including HIV, early and unintended pregnancies, unsafe abortions, early marriages, harmful cultural practices, and gender-based violence. Now, the SYP program, relevant to the challenges that young people are facing in Angola, would like for you to tell us what you think would help in changing the lives of young people and adolescents and young people in your country with specific focus on the SYP program. So over to you, Dr. Mercado.
Muito obrigado, és moderador muito simpático e uma forma muito interessante de apresentar. Quero cumprimentar também todos os presentes, em especial o senhor diretor do Fundo das Nações Unidas para a População, os embaixadores, a vocês, os organizadores desse evento. E sim, primeiro quero fazer uma afirmação vibrante e convicta de que sim, este programa sobre salvaguarda dos jovens vai, de certa forma, responder uma boa parte dos desafios que os adolescentes e jovens em Angola enfrentam. Eu quero, antes de entrar em mais detalhes, só lembrar que aqui no nosso país, em Angola, mais de 2/3 da nossa população é bastante jovem e tem a idade compreendida, ou seja, a idade média de 24 anos de idade. Portanto, estamos a falar de mais ou menos 20 milhões de pessoas. Daí que nós auguramos que as atividades do programa Salvaguarda para a Juventude vai impactar grandemente a vida dos nossos jovens e adolescentes, pois atua em áreas chaves para o desenvolvimento integral da nossa juventude. Aqui no nosso país, as taxas, nós temos taxas muito elevadas do início precoce da atividade sexual e a consequente gravidez na adolescência, com toda a cadeia de efeitos negativos sobre a vida das meninas de uma forma geral. E ao garantir que os adolescentes e jovens tenham acesso à informação sobre a sua vida sexual, a partir de fontes credíveis de informação, como é o caso dos professores e mesmo dos seus pares devidamente capacitados pelo programa, temos certeza que mudará efetivamente a vida de milhares de adolescentes e jovens aqui no nosso país. E nisso nós contamos com uma forte intervenção multissetorial. E isso nos faz ter cada vez mais certeza de que o programa vai produzir os efeitos desejados. Estamos a falar tão somente de 5 departamentos ministeriais, nomeadamente o Ministério da Juventude e Desporto, o Ministério da Ação Social, Família e Promoção da Mulher, o Ministério da Educação, o Ministério da Saúde e ainda o Ministério das Ciências e Tecnologias, para garantir que a informação possa passar por via dos meios tecnológicos para os adolescentes. E nisso, combinado com uma forte participação de organizações da sociedade civil e organizações representativas dos jovens, e para além, claro, do apoio inestimável do Fundo das Nações Unidas para a população em Angola e também da Embaixada da Holanda. É, portanto, uma grande aliança formada e a cerrar fileiras em favor de um crescimento saudável, em que os jovens estejam informados e sejam responsáveis, mas também organizados. Portanto, nós acreditamos sincera e honestamente que esse programa vai produzir os efeitos desejados, impactantes e marcantes para uma geração numerosa dos jovens e adolescentes em Angola. E lhe devolvo a palavra. Para a próxima pergunta.
Right, obrigado, Dr. Bancado. That's all my Portuguese I know. I would improve my Portuguese, and I promise the next time I will be translating all of this for you. So I'll introduce my next respondent, Dr. Maria Benina Martínez de Maia, who is currently acting as the Deputy National Director of Public Health at the Ministry of Health in Mozambique, with more than 20 years of experience in management of health programs at the Ministry of Health. She's also held roles of Hospital Director and Director of Health, Provincial Chief Medical Officer, Provincial Health Director, and Director of the National Vaccination Program. So my question for you would be about the impact of COVID-19. So we know that the COVID-19 pandemic has hampered the rollout of adolescent and youth-friendly sexual and reproductive health and rights programs, both information and services, due to movement restrictions, fear of going to clinics, and disruptions in services. So do you think that the expansion of the SYP program to Mozambique is timely to help us recover from COVID and move forward better? And what should the program, the SYP program, I must add, focus on to ensure that young people take informed decisions about their lives? Over to you.
She's struggling to log in. We now need to maybe go on to the next one.
Yeah. Right, so we're struggling to get Dr. Martina on the line, but we're definitely going to get her to come online so she would answer the question on Mozambique. But I'll jump on to introduce my next speaker, who is respondent, who is Shahid Ibrahim Mohammed, who is the Director of the Department of Youth Development in Zanzibar under the Ministry of Information, Youth and Culture. Now, prior to this position, Shahid worked as the Youth Development Officer at the Ministry of Youth Affairs for 18 years. Now, my question to you, Shahid, so among the challenges that young people face in Zanzibar, what are the ones that the government needs to address? And how can the SYP program assist the government to do so and do so effectively and quickly? Over to you, Shahid.
Hello, can you hear me now? I think so. Yeah, okay, thank you. Sorry. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Shahid Ibrahim Mohammed, Director of the Youth Development in Zanzibar Island as a part of the United Republic of Tanzania. So thank you for your question. And before just to answer your question, I would like just to take this opportunity first just to thank the Unfpa delegation and all the partners who support this SYP program, just to allow Tanzania to be part of the 12 countries who are going to implement this SYP program from 2021. So, and on behalf of the government of Zanzibar, as a part of United Republic of Tanzania, we ensure you the high commitment and to provide any kind of collaboration and support to make sure the intended goal of this SYP is going to be achieved. So then to come to your question, there are many challenges facing young people in Tanzania, and particularly in Zanzibar, where I'm coming from. Like some of the challenges are facing, including the knowledge and the access of SRHR services and the skills. So that is the one among the challenges, just to knowledge and the access of services for SHR. But not only that, but when you're talking about SRH services, there is the issues of infrastructures. The infrastructure is challenging because the areas where the SRH service provided now are not youth friendly enough as to compare with the other kind of service young people offered. For instance, you may find like some of the youth friendly services, youth health friendly services located at the government office, which is more like a bureaucracies, and some like challenging to access them. So that's I think we need just to look those like areas and especially infrastructures just to make sure youth are comfortable and easy to access those kind of services. But the second challenge is when we are talking the challenge for young people, GBV, gender-based violence. Still gender-based violence, you may find like both side, like perpetrators and the victims are young people. So we need just to address some of we need to come up with some intervention to make sure to reduce these challenges of GBV. For instance, when you look like July this 2021, you may find like in Zanzibar 280 cases like reported in July 2001, and June it was almost 97 cases for gender-based violence. So you may find like how the gender-based violence challenges in Zanzibar, and especially when you compare the number of the population, it still is very like a limited number. We have almost like a 2 million like a population. So 2 million population to 180 cases reported in 1 month, that is still is a challenge. But another issues when you're talking still in the side of GBV, we are talking about gender desk. We have a gender desk from like in the police like a station, but still the services provided there still is challenging. So we need just to build more capacity for young people, not for young people, for police who are responsible to work on the gender desk in order just to provide friendly services to community or people who are going just to seek services. But the other challenges is about early and early marriage. That is also the challenges for both like Tanzania mainland and Zanzibar. And intended pregnancies also is the challenges when we find like young people still they have that challenges concerning early like unintended pregnancies. But gender inequalities, gender inequality, because we need to invest a lot of like resources and knowledge for new generation in order just to reduce these challenges of early like for gender equalities. As we know, like traditionally we had like a big challenges concerning like a gender equality, but now because the new generation somehow the situation is better. So we need to invest more for the coming generation, just to reduce the gender inequalities among the young people. But youth participation still is a challenging. You may find like both like in youth participation in the decision makings. So there's no like a proper like guidelines or like areas where you may find like explaining how the youth could be engaged in the decision making like bodies. So although we have some like a step forward now, we have like in Zanzibar, we have a Zanzibar Youth Council, but now still in Tanzania mainland or in Tanzania in general, we are looking just to have a National Youth Council. So it seems this platform, once it's existing, we may improve like a participation of young people in the different like a body decision making bodies. Yeah, and the other issues we are talking about the parent and child like a communication. Still, there's some taboo just for young people just to talk with their parent, especially when they found different like a strange stuff within their body, or if they have any challenging concerning their sexual reproductive like health. So that is still there's a taboo, and we need just to address this in order just to reduce the risk and challenging for young people. So child and parent communication, that's we need just to look more. And the issues of national guidelines and the coordination, still that is a problem also we have, because there's a lot of like partners and the agencies, they are coming just to support on the different angle of like a SRH, right? Like a program, for instance, like you may find some like a 3 program or like a 3 different partners, they are doing the same project, for instance, life skills program, but you may find that every partners or every like organization, they provide a different message concerning the life skills. So that is a way we need just to improve coordination to make sure we send a message, we send the right message to the young people and we are not confusing them. But also we need just to know who are doing what, and in order just to support each other and not just to duplicate the activity for the same target group. So that I think we need just to address those issues. Harmful cultures and norms. Yeah, still we have some harmful cultures and norms, which is hindered some of the intervention and the activity what we are doing because of cultures and the norms what we have. So there's a need just to, now I'm coming to the second question, how this SYP are going to address. First, I think there's a need just to integrate this religious and traditional leaders in our intervention, because that's the one who have they have a influence in the communities, especially for young people. So we need just to address it. That's why sometimes it's very challenging. We are compete each other between the religious leaders and the traditional leaders and the government or other agencies. So in order just to go together and to be in the same page, we need first to build capacity and educate these religious traditional leaders in order to go together. But in terms of other areas, we need just to strengthen the capacity of youth leading and serving organization, because as you're aware, young people, they have a common languages when they're discussing, when they're talking about the issues, different issues of development. So it's better just to use this youth serving and leading organization and to address this issue or to implement this program. So, and before just to engage them, we need just to build their capacity and strengthen in order just to reach more young people and to deliver that message what we want. Engage private sector, that is important areas, because as we know, the private sector, they have a financial capacity and they can support, they are supporting government in the various aspects, but I think we need just to look on the side of the SRHR services, just to engage the private sector also to support that areas. School clubs, to establish a schools clubs, that is another areas which is very important, because based on the experience, it seems when we have a clubs in the school, it's work well, in terms of delivering program and information for young people, especially for those who are in school. So that is, I think, the thing what we need just to address it. But the issues of access information and the digitalization, because as we know now, this generation without digital skills and digital knowledge or digital application, that's, I think you can't like implement anything. So we need just to, whatever we are doing, we are not we make sure not forgetting the issues of digitalization solutions or issues of access of information and the technology for young people. That's another areas what we need to work. Then the last things is about a link livelihood program and health issues or SRH issues, because as you know, for young people without like engaging both livelihood and health issues, still there's a lot of challenges happening, because you can educate them, but at the end they are looking for the life, they are looking for food. So it means that we need just to integrate that, even like in terms of sustainability of the program. So I think we need just to look those like leverage the issues of like livelihood and health issues. Yeah, that I think all what I have for now. Thank you very much.
Right, thank you very much for those insights from Zanzibar, and it's interesting to see you list some of the opportunities that are available for the SYP program to improve or support the country to achieve the objectives that you set for yourselves. We notice that some of you are having technical difficulties hearing the conversations, but please keep logging in and out if that happens. Hopefully it will work, and we're also troubleshooting on our end to make sure that everybody enjoys this launch to the fullest. So please join me to welcome our next respondent. He's Mr. Felicien, and he is the Director of Mathematics and Science Unit at the Curriculum and Pedagogical Material Development in Rwanda. Prior to this position, Mr. Felicien served as the Rwandan Education Board. So my question for you, sir, is that the government of Rwanda is committed to tackling teenage pregnancy. Now, in Rwanda, the SYP has a focus as well on prevention of teenage pregnancies, among other strategies for the realization of the sexual and reproductive health and rights of all adolescents and young people. Now, what are, in your opinion, the steps the SYP program needs to take or follow to support the government of Rwanda in reducing teenage pregnancy within the country? Over to you.
Thank you very much for inviting me to this official launch of expansion of Safeguard Youth Program. I'm called Rujengamanzi Felicien, as you said, from Rwanda Education Board in the Department of Curriculum. In Rwanda, actually, in the previous years, we have there are steps which we have gone through, trying to tackle about the CSE, the comprehensive sexuality education. So there are different policies which have been in place. As per today, even in the future, Rwanda aspires to become an upper middle income country by 2035 and a high income country by 2050. And achieving this vision requires a substantive investment in human capital development so that the country has a healthy, well-educated, and highly skilled labor force that is gainfully employed. So Rwanda National Strategy for Transformation has actually placed younger people at the center of its development agenda. Younger people are change agents and drivers of the country's development. When you look at the statistics, currently Rwanda is striving at 11 million people. That's the population of Rwanda currently. Out of those, or out of the whole population, you find that between 15 years to 24 years of age, that's boys and girls, around 20% is youth. So that's why, as Rwanda has actually put this on the agenda. So this youth program, I think we are looking at it as a way where it will actually benefit Rwanda, and it fits well in the Rwandan priorities, national priorities to achieve high education and health outcomes for younger people. So if we take, for instance, comprehensive sexuality education, which was integrated in the school curriculum, it helps children to make a smooth transition from childhood to adulthood by equipping them with knowledge, skills, attitudes, and values that will that they need actually to make they need to make informed choices or decisions about their sexual reproductive health and well-being. So as such, CSE can and has actually helped to tackle many issues affecting younger people today. For instance, adolescents' pregnancy, leading to dropout, substance abuse, peer pressure, relationship, and violence. However, we need to address capacity gaps among the teaching workforce for the effective delivery of CSE at the classroom, including making it accessible to out-of-school children as well. We need to avail scholastic materials and reference books for teachers and learners to use. As far as the education sector is concerned, it has been actually hit hard by the COVID-19 pandemic due to long periods of school closure. It is therefore imperative to support learners, teachers, and families to ensure that children do not miss out on their education. So it is on this note, the Safeguard Youth Program can make a difference in that regard through the active participation of younger people and communities in building a better society. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
With your response. We really appreciate it. I told you I come bearing gifts. You thought that one speaker who went away was not going to come back. No, no, no. She's right back. And so we're going to hear from Dr. Martina De Maya. She's currently acting as the Deputy National Director for Public Health for Mozambique. I'd introduced her, so I'll go straight to her question, which was on COVID-19. And the question is that COVID is hampering the rollout of adolescent and youth-friendly sexual and reproductive health and rights services due to movement restrictions and fear of going to clinics and disruption of services, amongst other many reasons that young people have. Now, do you think that the expansion of the SYP program to Mozambique is timely? And what should the SYP program focus on to ensure that young people take informed decisions about their lives? Over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon. I will speak in Portuguese. Sou translator. Bem, muito obrigada pela oportunidade que dão a Moçambique de falar sobre esta questão do Covid no adolescente. Nós somos um país onde a maior parte da população são crianças e jovens e adolescentes, portanto, só o adolescente jovem, cerca de 33% dos 28 milhões de habitantes que temos no nosso país são adolescentes, e naturalmente que esta questão da expansão do SYP para Moçambique, para nós é uma oportunidade. A Covid claramente que trouxe desafios adicionais. Saying that the English translation is not working, please, can you provide the translation, please? Posso continuar? Ok. Então, como dizia, os nossos adolescentes, ok? Portanto, os nossos adolescentes em Moçambique estão sendo afetados claramente pela Covid-19. Nós, para o atendimento, sobretudo no nosso programa de adolescentes jovens, nós tivemos uma queda grande nos nossos indicadores, por conta de termos tido as escolas em algumas províncias em que não tínhamos aulas, e não só associado à questão da mobilidade, que também estava bastante limitada. Então, os nossos indicadores relacionados com atendimento ao adolescente baixaram drasticamente, e isto é uma preocupação. Então, esta expansão do programa, sim, vai ser uma ajuda para nós, tendo em conta todos esses aspectos, o aspecto de termos uma população jovem grande e ainda por cima o aspecto de termos a Covid a impactar negativamente, portanto, na nossa oferta de serviços de saúde. A nossa estratégia de atendimento ao adolescente jovem tem sido baseada na comunidade e nas escolas. Temos também nas unidades sanitárias, mas o nosso foco principal é nas escolas e também na comunidade, e claramente a Covid afetou-nos bastante. Somos um país onde a gravidez na adolescência é uma realidade preocupante. Temos, da última avaliação que fizemos em 2015, cerca de 46% das nossas adolescentes engravidam na adolescência, sendo que 14% engravidam antes dos 15 anos. Temos o início da atividade sexual precoce, tanto em rapazes como em raparigas, que quase a maior parte deles iniciam a atividade sexual antes dos 15 anos de idade. O uso do preservativo é fraco, então com a Covid a situação piorou mais ainda. Muito pouco se usa o preservativo ao nível deste grupo etário, portanto apenas 14% dos nossos adolescentes jovens que estão a usar o preservativo e os métodos contraceptivos, tendo em conta que o mesmo grupo inicia muito precocemente a atividade sexual, então é realmente uma preocupação para nós, e claramente porque engravidam cedo, porque iniciam a atividade sexual também muito cedo, e porque também casa-se precocemente no nosso país, então temos muitas situações de crianças que não conseguem sequer terminar o ensino médio. Portanto, 9% das nossas crianças das nossas crianças, sim, conseguem terminar o nível primário, mas apenas 12% é que conseguem fazer o ensino médio, e com disparidades muito grandes entre a zona sul, que é a zona que tem algum desenvolvimento em relação à zona norte, que variam de 15% ou 11% a 3% na zona sul. Temos algumas províncias, que é o caso de Cabo Delgado, é o caso de Nampula, é o caso de Niassa, onde os ritos de iniciação são uma prática comum, início de ritos de iniciação sexual são uma prática comum. Então, nessas províncias também a questão das gravidezes precoces e todos esses problemas relacionados com a sexualidade do adolescente jovem são um problema, e nestas mesmas regiões o acesso, por exemplo, às unidades sanitárias, o acesso às escolas é difícil, portanto é onde temos maiores distâncias que as crianças têm.
Yeah. Right. We've lost Dr. Demaya, but again, technology has its own way of doing this every time we're having fun. But that said, I think it's been a very good and exciting discussion this afternoon, and we believe that as much as possible, you are excited as we are about the expansion of the SYP program to all the 4 countries across the East and Southern Africa region. The aspirations of the Unfpa SYP program is to put young people at the forefront of everything that they do. And our work at the Unfpa is to ensure that young people with their input and participation we must safeguard their talents, their desires, their viewpoints, and individual needs in line with the Agenda 2030 of the Sustainable Development Goals and the Africa Union's Africa We Want 2063 strategy for the continent. I'd like to say thank you to all of you who stayed all through the program, as well as also listening to this rich conversation that we've had, and also to our speakers for their clear thoughts that they've shared and commitments in owning and leading the SYP program in your respective countries to ensure that we have a successful outcome for adolescents and young people. I am so excited, and I'm looking forward to dancing with joy with all of you, because it's an amazing time that we are expanding the program to a few more countries so that more young people will be better versions of themselves, and together we can build forward better. So back to you, Levi, and over from me from our studios in Johannesburg.
Thank you, Sydney, and thank you to all of our esteemed panelists. You've been very insightful, and we look forward to the next chapter of this SYP journey. To our audience, what a day it's been. We'd like to keep up the energy by hearing some amazing words from courtesy of hip hop in a performance dedicated to the SYP program. Let's listen in.
It has been one of life's greatest honors to be a part of the Safeguard Young People program. Touching base with brothers and sisters in the region, getting to know them, better yet, getting to show them that we can be our own mental and physical well-being saviors if we can commit to harmless behaviors. That we as young people now have been given the opportunities and power as agents of change in our own communities. We made music. Actually, we made magic that contributed to the improved sexual and reproductive health status of young people. We cut a record that advocates for an increase in young people's knowledge and skills towards adoption of protective sexual behaviors, strengthened young people's leadership and participation in program planning, implementation, and evaluation of young people's issues. The numbers speak for themselves. SYP has been out here building an enabling policy environment in key areas like knowledge, health, and youth empowerment. So brothers and sisters from Angola, Mozambique, Rwanda, and Tanzania, you are about to enter the next frontier and unleash another gear. Because here at the SYP family, we have a habit of making the sexual and reproductive health and rights of young people a reality.
Esteemed guests, I would like to invite Dr. Bane Indianabangi, the Unfpa Interim Regional Director for Eastern Southern Africa, to share his vote of thanks. Over the last 12 years, Dr. Bane has provided leadership as Deputy Representative and Representative to the Unfpa in Nigeria, South Sudan, Sierra Leone, Afghanistan, and Liberia country offices. He is an advocate for youth leadership and innovation within the region.
Excellency, honorable ambassadors, honorable high commissioners, representatives of development partners, representatives of UN agencies, civil society organizations, media houses, and obviously all the young people in the region and with us today. Let me beg to stand on existing protocols, as we would say when I worked in the countries of West Africa. It's a very special honor for me to be here this afternoon. At the outset, I want to sincerely thank the Excellencies for making time to grace today's event with the highly appreciated participation and remarks. Let me also take this opportunity to thank the Swiss Development Cooperation Agency and the Embassy of the Kingdom of Netherlands for believing in the Safeguard Young People program and supporting its expansion to the countries of Angola, Mozambique, Rwanda, Tanzania, and Zanzibar. Distinguished delegates, I would like you to imagine what it would be like if all adolescents and young people in East and Southern Africa were healthy, productive, and empowered. Imagine them being free of sexually transmitted infections, free of HIV infections, unintended pregnancies, child marriages, and sexual violence. This is the future that UNFPA envisions. Today's launch is thus a very exciting milestone for us. We are closer than ever to this vision of a continent where every adolescent, young person's potential is fulfilled, particularly through access to sexual and reproductive health information and services. We are proud of the many results we have achieved as a continent, but equally well aware of the challenges we still need to overcome. Not all young people face the same reality when it comes to their education and health. There are high rates of teenage pregnancy, child marriage, HIV and STIs, among other challenges. As we all know, teenage pregnancy raises the risk of school dropout. It limits economic prospects and may eventually perpetuate intergenerational poverty. It is associated with social and economic costs, which most likely affect the larger community. UNFPA strongly believes that investment in young people is critical to achieve the SDGs in Africa, a continent where a third of the population, about 430 million people, between 10 and 24 years, and 2/3 of the population, 860 million, is below the age of 35 years. We also believe that young people are our present as well as our future. Therefore, we put young people, their development, and their perspectives of the world at the center of our investments. Upholding their rights, including sexual and reproductive rights, redressing inequalities, ensuring empowerment, education, and employment of young people will not only improve the lives of adolescents and youth, but also the lives of those around them. We are extremely proud to be here today to celebrate the expansion of the Safe Young People program to Angola, Mozambique, Rwanda, Tanzania, and Zanzibar. This program is considered the UNFPA flagship program on adolescent and young people in the East and Southern Africa region. It is generously co-funded by the Swiss Agency for Development Cooperation and the Embassy of the Kingdom of Netherlands, and obviously UNFPA. This program started in 2013 and was initially implemented in 8 countries in Southern Africa, with a strong regional component, working with the Southern African Development Community. The program is now covering 12 countries in East and Southern Africa, and will also ensure the expansion of its leadership to the East African community. This program over the years has reached more than 21 million youth with a comprehensive package of integrated sexual and reproductive health information, and close to 8 million young people have accessed quality integrated sexual and reproductive health services. The program has worked with SADC in influencing trends and shaping policies and legislations at country level. One example is the development of the SADC model law on preventing child marriage and protecting those already in marriage. The model law has been utilized to amend constitutions and legislations, and in some instances, domesticated in its entirety, like was the case in Malawi. More recently, the program supported the SADC Secretariat in the development of the SADC Youth Policy Framework that paves the way for a SADC Youth Protocol. Allow me also to highlight the work that this program has been undertaking under the leadership of SADC and the East African Community to assure the ministerial endorsement of the Eastern Southern Africa Commitment on Health and Education for the well-being of adolescents and young people. This will culminate in a high-level ministerial meeting at the upcoming Conference on AIDS and STDs in Africa on December 6th in Durban. Let me also point out that the program acknowledges and builds on the role of young people in making this continent better. This has become increasingly evident, and their voices have become increasingly loud. They cannot be ignored any longer. SYP partners with young leaders to move faster and deeper as we ensure the realization of sexual and reproductive health and rights for all young people in the region. Dear Excellencies, dear young people, ladies and gentlemen, let me end by restating that none of what we commit to and invest in will make a difference if we do not do it together in a concerted manner. And today gives us the opportunity to realize each other's strength and join forces for the future we want for adolescents and youth in the region. As I conclude, let me say this special message to the new implementing countries of Angola, Mozambique, Rwanda, and the United Republic of Tanzania. The SYP fosters national and regional level partnerships to build strong foundations for long-term adolescent sexual and reproductive health and rights outcomes in the implementing countries. I'm confident that you will soon experience the benefit of the collaborative nature of the program. Unfpa is committed to walking this journey with you and stands ready to support you at every step of the way. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Njanabangi. We continue to remember that young people are made for now and not tomorrow. We have reached the ultimate moment of this launch. This expansion is a collective drive to move young Africa towards a future that is inclusive, progressive, greener, and healthier. That being said, I urge you to remain committed to walking alongside them through these often challenging but worthwhile times. So raise your voice as we say, Viva young people, viva. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Levi Singh, and it has been an absolute pleasure to host you today. Goodbye.
It's my pleasure to officially launch.
I declare the Safeguard Youth Program officially launched.
I declare the Safeguard Young People Program officially launched.
I declare the Safeguard Young People Program officially launched.
It is my pleasure to officially launch the expansion of the Safeguard Young People Program.
I officially declare the SYP expansion launched.
Record